Namaskar. I will first read out excerpts from the President's address to the nation on the eve of India's 68th Independence Day. Fellow citizens, on the eve of the 67th anniversary of our independence, I extend warm greetings to you and to all Indians around the world. I convey my special greetings to members of our armed forces, paramilitary forces, and internal security forces. I also congratulate all our sportspersons who have participated and won laurels in the recently concluded Commonwealth Games held at Glasgow. Friends, freedom is a celebration. Independence is a challenge. In the 68th year of freedom, we have reaffirmed the power of our individual and collective liberties by electing, through a remarkably peaceful electoral process, a stable government with a clear majority for a single party after 3 decades. The increase in voter turnout to 66% from the last elections, 58%, shows the vitality of our democracy. This achievement has given us an opportunity to take up the challenge of governance by reforming the policies, practices, and systems of governance so that the enormous aspirations of our people can be fulfilled with vision, commitment, integrity, speed, and administrative capability. Friends, in a democracy, good governance is exercise of power for efficient and effective management of our economic and social resources for the well-being of the people. This power has to be exercised within the framework of the Constitution through the institutions of the state. With the passage of time and changes in the ecosystem, distortions do appear, making some institutions dysfunctional. When one institution does not function in the manner expected of it, phenomenon of overreach sets in. While some new institutions might become necessary, the real solution lies in reinventing and restoring the existing ones to serve the purpose of effective government. Good governance is critically dependent on the rule of law, participatory decision-making, transparency, responsiveness, accountability, equity, and inclusiveness. It calls for wider involvement of the civil society in the political process. It calls for deeper engagement of the youth with the institutions of democracy. It calls for quick dispensation of justice to the people. It calls for ethical and responsible behavior from the media. गरीबी के अभिशाप को समाप्त करना हमारे समय की निर्णायक चुनौती है। अब हमारी नीतियों को गरीबी के उन्मूलन से गरीबी के निर्मूलन की दिशा में केंद्रित होना होगा। ये अंतर केवल शब्दार्थ का नहीं है। उन्मूलन एक प्रक्रिया है, जबकि निर्मूलन समयबद्ध लक्ष्य। पिछले 6 दशकों में गरीबी का अनुपात 60% से अधिक की पिछली दर से कम होकर 30% के नीचे आ चुका है। इसके बावजूद हमारी जनता का लगभग 1/3 हिस्सा गरीबी की रेखा के नीचे गुजर बसर कर रहा है। निर्धनता केवल आंकड़ा नहीं है, निर्धनता का चेहरा होता है और वो तब असहनीय हो जाता है जब ये बच्चे के मन पर अपने निशान छोड़ जाता है। निर्धन अब तक एक और पीढ़ी तक न तो इस बात का इंतजार कर सकता है और न ही करेगा कि उसे जीवन के लिए अनिवार्य भोजन, आवास, शिक्षा तथा रोजगार तक पहुंच से वंचित रखा जाए। आर्थिक विकास से होने वाले लाभ निर्धन से निर्धनतम व्यक्ति तक पहुंचने चाहिए। In the last decade, our economy grew at an average rate of 7.6% per year. Though the growth rate was subdued at below 5% during the last 2 years, I sense renewed vigor and optimism in the air. Signs of revival are visible. Our external sector has strengthened. Fiscal consolidation measures are beginning to show results. Notwithstanding occasional spurts, inflation has started moderating. However, food prices still remain a matter of serious concern. Record food grains production last year helped agriculture sector to grow at a healthy 4.7%. Employment has increased by an average of about 4% per year in the last decade. Manufacturing sector is on the rebound. The stage is now set for our economy to move on a high growth trajectory of 7 to 8%, which is essential to ensure the availability of adequate resources for equitable development. प्यारे देशवासियों, अर्थव्यवस्था विकास का भौतिक हिस्सा है, शिक्षा उसका आत्मिक हिस्सा है। ठोस शिक्षा प्रणाली किसी भी प्रबुद्ध समाज का आधार होती है। हमारी शिक्षण संस्थाओं का ये परम कर्तव्य है कि वो गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा प्रदान करें और युवाओं के मस्तिष्क में मातृभूमि से प्रेम, सभी के लिए दया, बहुलवाद के लिए सहनशीलता, महिलाओं के लिए सम्मान, दायित्वों का निर्वाह, जीवन में ईमानदारी, आचरण में आत्मसंयम, कार्य में जिम्मेदारी तथा अनुशासन के बुनियादी सभ्यतागत मूल्यों का समावेश करें। 12वीं पंचवर्षीय योजना के अंत तक हम 80% की साक्षरता दर प्राप्त कर चुके होंगे, परंतु क्या हम ये कह पाएंगे कि हमने अच्छा नागरिक तथा सफल पेशेवर बनने के लिए अपने बच्चों को गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा तथा कौशल प्रदान किए हैं? We can at least afford to forget this message at a time when an increasingly turbulent international environment has sparked off rising dangers in our region and beyond, some clearly visible and some crawling out of the debris of unprecedented turmoil. Across parts of Asia and Africa, attempts are being made by radical militias to redraw the maps of nations to create a geography for theocratic ideology. India will feel the heat of blowback, particularly as it represents the values that reject extremism in all its manifestations. India is a beacon of democracy, equilibrium, inter- and intra-faith harmony. We must defend our secular fabric with vigor. Our security and foreign policies must combine the steel of strength with the velvet of diplomacy, even as we persuade the like-minded as well as the hesitant to recognize the substantial dangers that breed with indifference. 68 वर्ष की आयु में एक देश बहुत युवा होता है। भारत के पास 21वीं सदी पर वर्चस्व कायम करने के लिए इच्छा शक्ति, ऊर्जा, बुद्धिमत्ता, मूल्य और एकता मौजूद है। गरीबी से मुक्ति की लड़ाई में विजय पाने का लक्ष्य तय किया जा चुका है। ये यात्रा केवल उनको ही विकट लगेगी जिनमें विश्वास का अभाव है। एक पुरानी कहावत है, सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा, अर्थात सफलता कर्म से ही उत्पन्न होती है। अब समय आ गया है कि हम कार्य में जुट जाएं। जय हिंद। Dear friends, members of the Indian community, Polish friends of India who are present on this occasion, and members of the Indian mission in Warsaw. I warmly welcome you on this very, very special occasion, an occasion which becomes special for 3 reasons. The primary reason being, of course, the 68th Independence Day of India on 15th August 2014. The second reason being the birth anniversary of a great philosopher and freedom fighter, Sri Aurobindo. And the third reason, which is of special pleasure to us, is to welcome all of you to the new building of the Embassy of India in Warsaw. I'm extremely delighted that we are hoisting the Indian flag in the premises of our new Chancery building. This is a moment which is of great pride to all of us, because for the last 30 years, the project has been in cold storage, if you like, or on the back burner, but finally we have been able to materialize the project, to bring all of you together on this very, very proud day of our independence celebration, and to also show you that we have been working very hard for the last 2 years to try and give India a very visible symbol in Warsaw of its commitment to engage with Poland in a deeper and more meaningful manner to strengthen our bilateral relations. This new embassy building is a symbol of how eager India is to further strengthen its ties with Poland, to try and encourage deeper contact between the people of our 2 countries. Not only political contact, not just commercially strengthening our relations through business and industry, but also to try and strengthen, deepen the interface that is manifesting itself between the people of India and the people of Poland. So it is a very special symbol, a visible symbol of our commitment, as I mentioned. And this project, which has been on the anvil now, as I mentioned, for a while, but we have been able to fructify it, has been made possible because of the entire team of the Embassy of India. And on this very special occasion, I would especially like to thank each and every member of the mission for their contribution to this project. I want to particularly thank the First Secretary, Mr. Meena, who is also the head of Chancery and who has also the responsibility to be the CDA when I'm away. He has to keep the flag flying, for his commitment to his work and to to also this particular Chancery project. I want to also mention the Second Secretary, Mr. Sanjeev Manchanda, who has specially looked after this project, and all the others in the embassy without naming them. Each and every person has made a very valuable contribution in making this project a reality. Each one of you is an ambassador of India in Poland. I want to particularly reach out to each one of you and to thank each one of you for your contribution in the relations between our two countries. Because what you are doing is invaluable. You are a symbol of India in this country. You are the persons who fly the flag of the country in Poland. I want to especially reach out to you and give you this message. This is your country of adoption, even though many of you are Indian citizens, some of you have adopted Polish citizenship. You have great love for your motherland, but this is your country of adoption. And please make a valuable contribution, not merely to the economy of this country, not merely to the employment in this country, not merely in ensuring the law and order of this country, but also make an invaluable contribution of values. Because values are extremely important, and particularly for Indians. And I'm sure that when we take the values of peace, of liberty, of democracy, of freedom, of friendship, of compassion, of bringing together people on an equal footing, this is the most important contribution each one of us can make in this country or wherever we are in the world, globally. So thank you very much for being here today. I welcome you. This is a very, very memorable, unforgettable moment for us that we are assembled in a new premises of our new embassy. All of you have come, despite the fact that a lot of roads are closed all around, and it is also a Polish holiday, and it's not easy for people to get here. What touches my heart is that all of you made the effort. The sentiment of each one of you coming here today touches my heart, touches all of us. I want to again welcome you to partake of the pride of being an Indian, to partake of being an Indian in Poland, to partake of this very special friendship we share between Indians and the Polish people. So on this note I end, and I congratulate you again on this wonderful occasion of the 68th Independence Day of India. Thank you.
Friends, now we'll have one very nostalgic old song, which is actually will bring you all the remembrance of India, and it will be sung by our Granthi ji, Garvinder Singh. So bear with us for 2 minutes.
But जब देश में थी दिवाली वो खेल रहे थे होली। जब देश में थी दिवाली वो खेल रहे थे होली। जब हम बैठे थे घरों में, जब हम बैठे थे घरों में,
Before I invite all of you to join us for some very, very simple, modest refreshments, I must mention the contribution of some persons who have been extremely active in promoting India-Poland relations. They have been active in community affairs. Mr. Pavan Moorjani is here. Yes, Mr. Pavan Moorjani, please come join us here. The President of the Indo-Polish Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Umesh Nautiyal, the President of the Indo-Polish Cultural Committee, who has made some invaluable contribution in promoting Indian culture in this country. Mr. Sunil Ahuja, Mantra Center for Indian Culture and Art in the dais. Mr. Harish Lalwani for running the Hindu Bhavan and Temple in Warsaw, and which is a wonderful community center also. Apart from being a Hindu temple, it is also a community center where members of the Indian community come together and as Indians, and so it is an extremely important center for convergence of us Indians. And of course the Gurdwara, which is being run by Mr. Amarjeet Singh. Could we ask him to please join us here? Mr. Surjit Singh. presentation that he made, because while we celebrate our independence, we must remember that there are people on our frontiers who are laying down their lives so that we can be free, so that we can celebrate. So it's so important, really. This is a song which is, it's a historic song, and it is a song which tells us about the sacrifices that have been made by the martyrs of our country. Therefore, we must, on such an occasion, never forget the contribution made by them. I thank you, Granthiji, for the wonderful rendition. I want to also thank Anna Kalata, a very eminent Polish lady who is present here. She has been minister in the Polish government, and she has been a part of the Indo-Polish Chamber of Commerce and Industry also, and makes a very valuable contribution to India-Poland relations. I want to thank Mr. Bisek. Mr. Adam Bisek is here from Wrocław. He has been a pioneer in opening the India-Poland Business Center and portal, business portal, which is doing some phenomenal work in Wrocław, but not just for Wrocław, for the whole of Poland. So I congratulate the contribution and the achievement of each one of you for what you have done for the Indian community, what you have done for India-Poland relations, how you have taken our friendship forward. Now I invite all of you to join us for some refreshments. We are also going to request the children after that to come and join me outside to plant a sapling in the new embassy. So it will remain a memory of the children, the Indian children who are present here, to have planted a sapling, which is, you know, something which will be of durable value, and it will be a permanent feature in our embassy. We shall do that after a while.
मेरे वतन के लोगों, जरा आँख में भर लो पानी, जो शहीद